Hi everyone, welcome to DuoQueue. I'm Sally, and this week we're going to be continuing our categorical adventure and talking about our favorite support players.
Heyo. For ranked this week, we're just going to be talking about our favorite support players and also characters that we probably enjoy playing as support if we were to enjoy that.
If if there were any joy in playing this role at all.
Yeah. So I guess we should start out like we did last week by telling anyone who might not know what the support role is, even though I think that one's pretty self-explanatory, but they are the character who heals the other team or like heals the team and
They heal the other team.
no,
Hello?
shut up! I said it wrong. They heal their team.
Yeah, they heal their teammates. They
So
support them.
they're very important.
Yes, I would say inarguably the most important. Since you're our resident support player,
Yeah.
who do you like to play the most?
I mean, I guess I'm the Lucio main here, so I guess Lucio is my favorite. But really, I enjoy all of the support characters. Like, I would say I play Lucio and Mercy the most, and I've been learning Zen, which I think he's a lot of fun. And I play Ana too, and Brig. So who do you like to play?
I would say probably Ana is my favorite to play. I've been playing a lot more Ana
Yeah.
in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say probably Ana or Moira, just because I feel like I can help myself a little bit more. Like Moira has a really strong escape,
Yeah.
so you can leave really fast, and Ana has defense mechanisms, I feel like, that can help you, like the sleep dart and
I guess.
the the purple
Although
grenade.
I would say Ana is probably the second.
Ana has the least
Yeah, I was gonna
escape.
say besides Zenyatta, she has the least a way to get away. But like you said, you do
Yeah,
have the sleep
but
dart
she
that
can
you
kind
can.
of, yeah, and her traditional gun does a lot of damage too. So
Yeah,
those two, and then Lucio. I like
Lucio.
to play Lucio a lot.
He's
I
fun.
like to play Lucio in Total Mayhem.
Yeah, because you can just do whatever
I just push all the
forever.
buttons all at the same time forever.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so why don't we get into it? I have a list. Do you have a
I
list?
do have a list.
All right, we'll start with your list because we started with my list last time.
All right. So I'll go ahead and get my predictable one out of the way this time instead of making you wait like I did last week. I'd
Who's it
say
gonna be?
I'd say one of my favorite support players is Unko.
Yay!
Who I would say when I first started watching, he wasn't like one of my favorites. Like it wasn't like it was just like he just existed. But then later he became my favorite because okay, this is kind of sad, but I always remember so he was on Valiant and then he got traded to the Fuel, and I always just remember thinking, oh, that boy looks so sad, and now Custa is thriving.
Jesus.
But I really like Unko. I think he's funny. He's a really good player, of course. Um,
He's nutty with Anna.
yeah, he's crazy. Like in
Like if you
Zan
watch
and
any of his stream or his YouTube stuff, his his sleep darts are
yeah, they're
insane.
so good. I would say he has kind of like a reputation for being toxic. My opinion on it is, I don't think he's that toxic. I think more of what it is he's blunt with you. Like, if you're doing something wrong, he's gonna tell you what you're doing wrong, and he doesn't necessarily mean it not in a, you know what I mean. Like he's not just saying it to be mean. He's saying it so that you can know what you're doing wrong and improve it. If that makes sense.
I never quite understood that impression that people got from him, like just from having seen him on stream and in behind the scenes stuff. He never seems like he has any kind of ill intent, or like he's doing it to get a rise out of people.
Yeah.
Like it always seems like he's just trying to give honest feedback. Like he's no
Mm-hmm.
fucking Sinatra. But he's not just trying to be an asshole. Like he's I think he is more, he gives more constructive
Yeah.
criticism than
Well,
anything else. And I think a lot of people just can't
take it.
handle that.
Yeah, like he knows it's a team game and he knows that he can't win. without like your help. So he's not doing it to be like to make you mad, to tilt you. He's doing it to be like, I need you to have my back. I need you to do this thing. He's just like telling you to help you improve, and so that you guys can like win the game. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I would agree. And I think he always is having fun with
Yeah.
people. Like he'll nitpick on Stoon and like OG and stuff. Like
Yeah.
he'll give it to him a little bit. But they're all friends, so I think he has more fun with messing with people
Yeah.
than he is being actually mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
like he'll
guess.
be like to his friends, but I feel like he's not just like to rant. You know what I mean? Like to random
Yeah,
people.
I would agree. Also, he called Sabiobi as Bibu once, and
Bibu.
that's the cutest shit I've ever heard
Yes.
in my whole life.
Who did you have?
I had Kriv.
Karib.
I
Yeah.
had Kriv first. Kriv, I feel like we could have done either in support or in DPS
Yeah.
because he's done both
Yeah. He's.
pretty extensively.
Yeah. He really is.
Um, but I love Kriv. I think
Karib is.
he's so funny.
He is.
he's he seems like he has a really good relationship with everybody on his team. Like
Mm-hmm.
Custo will go back and forth with him on Twitter, and
Bravo.
he and he and Agilities are really good friends and have a cat together.
Yes.
He was really cute and sweet with Silk Thread as well.
Yeah.
But I think also, since I mentioned that we could have put him in either one, the fact that he has performed both really well on support and on DPS is really
Yeah.
impressive.
He's nutty.
Because yeah, and they swapped him in quite a few times on DPS. I think at least 6 or 7 games. One stage he just
I was
did.
gonna say stage 2 he was exclusively DPS. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, which is kind of insane, but I think that's really impressive, and
He
I think
is.
that's a
Yeah.
really
He.
interesting, different kind of thing that a lot of players don't get to do. But I just like Karif. That's all. Maybe not.
One of my favorite clips is when he and Sherfor were in that game. I think it was Sherfor Space in Korea, and it was like on Iconwad. You remember? And it was like really long, and he's like, "No, please, I don't want to play anymore.
I don't want
more." Yeah.
He's going space carry.
So please, no, I don't want more.
I don't want more.
So fucking funny.
Cute. You're up.
I'm up. Okay. I'd say another one, just kind of related to this area we're in, is Custa.
Yep.
I really like
Custa.
Custa. I feel like he's. I mean, I guess it's true about everyone, but I just feel like he's really passionate about the game. And I feel like, especially after he got traded to Valiant, it was shown more because, like, every time you see like a video of Valiant, you can really see that he like steps up and he's basically like the team leader. It seems like he usually is the one leading the talks and stuff in a lot of their behind the scenes video and like doing pep talks and stuff for them, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, he has very strong team captain vibes.
Yeah. And I always just think of during the fucking All Stars when he was the only American on the roster, or only
He's not American.
Sorry,
He's not American.
he was the only English speaking person on the roster, and he was like, "Well, they taught me how to say nano me in Korean, so I should be good."
Bug me.
And then they did nano him.
They did nano him on Zenyatta. No, he seems like a very laid back, like kind of almost like a genuinely like here to have fun kind of guy.
Yeah.
Even though obviously he does have to have some kind of competitive spirit,
every one of them
like
does, but like
they all do.
Yeah.
But he seems like the most agreeable person on the planet. Like I would love to just like go and hang out with Custa for a day because it seems like he would just like he just seems like a fun guy.
He does, yeah.
Like a fun, nice guy to hang around with.
I agree.
And I think also like the fact that he like came to the Valiant and really kind of like stepped up for them as a shot caller and really kind of took that on, I think is really impressive and speaks a lot to the kind of personality he is.
Yeah,
and the fact that he didn't start out on that team and now is pretty much like the face of the team is
like,
really impressive.
It was also a big deal that like, you know, he wasn't, like you said, on the team at the beginning, and you can tell that he really like brings them together a lot now, and like it's just like a good like connection to the whole team. I feel like
they love him.
Yeah. Everyone loves Custer, and they should.
They love it. They should. He deserves it. And they did that also, like um the video about him. They interviewed him and like had him do an episode about his life and stuff, and it was really interesting because he kind of just found himself here.
Yeah, cool.
Like pretty much, he kind of just like went with the flow until he landed,
Yeah.
which I think is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And he has 2 cute cats.
He does. Who's on your list next?
I had Jaehong.
Yeah, me too.
The thing that I like the most about Jaehong is that his really strong like older brother presence. Like players on the Excelsior like Jonak and then also a lot of the players on Seoul as well. Like I don't know, a lot of players have said that they look up to Jaehong and that like a lot of his past teammates still support him and that kind of thing. Like I think he has this really kind of almost like I don't know, I guess like a comforting kind of presence. He's been around a long time, and people and like his past teammates have kind of settled in with him, I think.
Not even like past teammates. It's just like he was pretty much the quintessential like Ana player you would think of, like especially like back in the World Cup. Jonak and like I'm sure a lot of other support players would say the same thing. Like I feel like he's just such a big impact on, and then kind of like we talked about with Kariv, Jaehong just fucking played main tank for his stage.
Just decide, and like he said in an interview that he learned those heroes. Like he was like they were not heroes he was strong on, and he had to learn them so that he could fill that role. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, it is.
Also, he seems like the super chillest.
Yeah, he does. I love him.
Like Custa actually is a surfer, but Jaehong like gives me like surfer dude vibes.
They should go like surf together. Custa, Jaehong, make it happen.
Custa, Jaehong surf date. Go.
Yeah, go. Next I had Arc down.
I also had Arc next.
I feel like Arc plays for New York Excelsior, for anyone who doesn't know, and I just feel like he does not get the amount of credit he deserves. Because like Jonak gets a lot of it, and not that Jonak doesn't deserve, praise, but Arc is like a huge part of why Jonak is able to do what he does. And I don't know, I really like Arc. I think he's like, obviously he's one of the best mercies, I would say, in the league. And I think he's really adorable. Like I always think of the All-Stars weekend when he was like clearly translating for like Poco and other people, because he knows English compared, like, I guess more so than a lot of the other Koreans that were on the All-Stars team. But I just remember him like translating back and forth for people, and it was really cute.
He's very well spoken.
He is.
Arc is. I feel like he takes questions really seriously, and he kind of always looks like he's thinking really hard about them when he asks questions, which I think is super sweet. But also I would agree with you that he's like really underappreciated. So we're here to appreciate it.
I also did you see the thing where someone asked Arc to do their homework, and he actually did their homework for them?
Yeah. Somebody asked like, I need help with my homework, Arc. Can you help me with it? And they sent him the questions, and he just did the question.
I think it was math, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was math homework. That's so funny. Yeah, he seems like a really big sweetie.
Yeah, I like Arc. Like I said, I think he doesn't get as much praise as he deserves, because obviously like he was a big part of all of that and still is. And I don't know, I just feel like Arc needs some love.
We love you, Arc.
Love you, Arc.
I guess like just because we're adjacent, we should talk about Jonak.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't talk about support players and not talk about Jonak.
Yeah, he became the unstoppable Zenyatta. Like he became this kind of really, like, he won the MVP, won the World Cup MVP. I think Jonah kind of redefined like what especially Zenyatta, but that kind of flex support role,
Yeah.
kind of redefined what the expectations were for that role. Since he was such a monster as far as damage output goes. But it
Very.
says a lot to kind of the effect that he had, that it kind of changed the way that that role has to be played now.
And it was also impressive because, from my understanding, like, he wasn't well known before the Overwatch League. Like, you know, quite a few of the players were like on other teams that were well known and were just kind of like well known. But as far as I could, like, what I gathered, like, Jonak wasn't really that like well known until he showed up and kicked ass at the Overwatch League, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, you kind of can't have this conversation if you don't talk about him, because he changed a lot of the way that it works, and he had such a big impact on the New York Excelsior and then on other teams too.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he was the MVP for both, obviously. Well, I mean, since we're talking about the, like, important person to that role, I mean, we gotta talk about Neptuno, too.
We do have to talk about Neptuno.
Neptuno, who is the Battle Mercy, and probably I would say he's up there with Arc as one of the best Mercies in the league, because he's also good at just being Mercy, not also killing as her only.
Yeah, I like to talk about Neptuno all the time because I make fun of Rayla for being a Battle Mercy, and I always call her Neptuno when she does it. But it is interesting to have like a perspective from a really aggressive support player, like because I think a lot of support players are kind of passive, like they'll hang back and try to stay more protected.
Yeah.
But it is fun to watch one that's really like go out there and do it yourself.
I feel like it kind of comes from the aspect where he's a Lucio player, and
yeah, probably
all the Lucio players got put in Mercy jail for a really long time, and so he just had to find a way to, you know, make it fun for him, I think.
Big Goose is similar.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, Neptune is really fun to watch just because you never know when he's just gonna like snap and take matters into his own hands. Well, since I mentioned Big Goose, we can talk about Big Goose.
I knew that was coming.
Well, I just mentioned him. Yeah. So it makes sense. It's a segue.
You love Goose.
I love Goose. I love Goose.
What you gotta say about Big Goose?
The thing I like the most about Big Goose is that he has this kind of like Custa presence where he's a strong team leader, I think. Yeah. Like in all of the gladiators, like when they do their own comms, like they put together videos of their in-game comms when they're on stage. Like Big Goose is one of their main shot callers. Mm-hmm. Big Goose and Bishu. But he has this really like, I don't know, he has this really like big brothery presence. Yeah. And he's another Lucio that got stuck in Mercy jail, so he has some pretty high Battle Mercy stats too.
Let them free.
Let them free. But also I like the Goose chant. I like that as well.
You just like Goose.
I like Goose.
So the next person I had was Boombox. And the reason I picked him was I can't remember if it was the World Cup or if it was the EU Contenders Championship, but I remember watching him play, and he was basically like the Sin player. Like, he was the one that everyone talked about because he was kind of like Jonak, but it was before Jonak, you know? He was just like really good, and they would always talk about like how he was basically like a third DPS for them. So like he was like a big deal then. So I don't know. I think Boombox is good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it was one of the first like competitive things I watched, and I just remember like Boombox was one of the names I remembered because they were always just talking about like how like important and impactful he was being on that Zenyatta.
I really liked watching him in the World Cup because the UK did so well, but and they had a couple of contenders players, but he was the only Overwatch League player on the UK. Is that correct?
Yes.
So like, and it was kind of interesting because like the casters would talk about him a lot because he was, I think probably because he was their Overwatch League
Yeah.
guy, but also because he performed really, really well.
Yeah.
Like he did a great job. So like it was fun to kind of see him like kind of get the spotlight a little bit.
I would say, yeah, like he was a big part of like why Team USA did lose is because they really weren't shutting him down and they needed to. Like he was able to like
Yeah.
do so much from the back lines and just no one was really contesting him.
He has such strong chaotic vibe. Every single image I've ever seen of Boombox is like extremely cursed.
Yeah. I get that.
Like there's that one where he's like dragging a baseball bat and he's wearing like an anime shirt and he's standing kind of pigeon-toed and it's dark and like it's like it sticks in my mind even though I've only seen it probably twice.
Don't
It
even
is
know what image that is.
I will send it to you. It is incredibly concerning.
It does sound concerning.
I had Aim God.
Ooh, Aim God.
Who plays for Boston. I'm excited to see him play more, I guess, on the big stage. Because he is so short and everyone else on the Uprising is so tall. It is hilarious. It was hysterical watching them take pictures because they're all so tall, and then he was like a foot shorter than everybody else.
Roast him, Jesus.
He knows he's short, but also he came up from contenders, I think, in the middle of the season or something. Oh, I did this and I wrote it down and I didn't write down notes clearly enough for myself, so I'm hoping I'm not wrong about that.
I don't know anything about Aim God, so I can't help you.
But I watched a couple of clips of him in contenders. He is like insane on Zin.
Yeah.
Like nuts. Like Jonak level nuts. Who's your next person?
I had Raucus next.
We love Raucus.
I feel like we talked about this in the first episode, but like Raucus, I just got attached to him during the World Cup.
You did.
So I still like him. I enjoy watching him play.
I think he's really funny.
I was gonna say I just like seeing him interacting with his teammates. That just goes for anyone on the Outlaws, just because I think they're they're all really good together. So I just always
his friendship with Fact Fiction is really sweet as well. That they've been friends for a long time.
That's so cute. And I always like when Raucus gets to play not support heroes.
Yeah, like when they had him on Bastion and
stuff. Yeah, like he got to play Bastion. He's played Soldier some. He played Roadhog. I don't know. I just think it's always cool to see like a support player get to flex off of support onto something else.
That's the goal for you. That's the dream.
God, it'll never happen, dude. Never happen.
He's very nice and gives very good hugs. Cut in the picture of me with the "Don't Shoot Raucus" sign.
Okay. Look at that picture. He's so cute. He also just has this like chill vibe about him too, like going around on his little skateboards.
On his longboard.
Yeah, that's his longboard.
Drinking Starbucks.
Giving peace signs with his glass. He's just got that cool vibe.
Yeah, he seems like a very chill, like it's very like goth skater.
I was gonna say he's got the like black cardigans on and stuff like that. I can appreciate it.
Yeah, but I like Raucus. He gives off nice vibes.
He does. Jake and Raucus got to go on today's show. And
they did, and they said, meet these kids who make $50,000 a year playing video games when Raucus with a full beard is sitting right.
I was gonna say the interview itself wasn't great, but I thought like the two of them were very good, like candidates to speak about it. And I think they did a good job. And I don't know. I think, like I said, I just thought that they were good choices. Raucus is a nice boy.
Yeah, I think the two of them are very well spoken.
Yeah.
And I think Maybe Ruckus was able to kind of like rein Jake in a little bit.
Yeah, probably. Ruckus is obviously like one of the big team leaders. Like if you listen to
Yeah,
Outlaws comms, it's usually him shouting.
he's always screaming.
He is.
I love it.
It's great. Who was next on your list?
Banny.
Aw, yeah. I love
We'll
Banny.
just check the Outlaws off now.
Yeah, I mean, since we're here.
Banny always speaks really intelligently
Yeah.
when he's asked questions. And I think he has a really good grasp on like what his role is and like what he has to do to be successful in it, even if it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
I think he has a really strong understanding of the game and his role in it, which I think and he expresses that really well.
Mhm.
And I always like to listen to him talk about it. He explains things in a really concise, easy way, easy to understand kind of way. One time, I don't know what the context for it was because I just saw the clip, but one time Banny was like explaining some kind of scientific process in MS Paint, and in the background, like XQC was on his team and like a couple of other people, and they were like, must the XQC, but the other teammates too were like yelling and like talking to each other and being really annoying, and he goes, you guys are pissing me off, and he just muted them and went back to explaining his science lesson.
Oh my god. That's funny.
It made me laugh so much.
I haven't seen that. I love that.
He goes, you guys are pissing me off, and just mutes everybody.
What a mood.
So that he could continue educating his viewers.
What a good
which
time.
I think is very Banny.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we talk about Boink?
Yeah, we should talk about Boink.
Because he's the other outlaw.
Yeah, like I said, we're checking off our outlaws.
Checking off our outlaws.
Boink is like, we didn't get to see him a lot throughout the season, but when we did, he served up some spicy Lucio plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I like Boink a lot.
Boink is so funny.
Yeah, he's really funny.
He's so funny.
Like, he's really nice. Like, from personal experience, we can say, like, Boink is really nice.
Yeah, we met him briefly, and he was super nice to us. I think because there was almost this need for like a Lucio like specialist at the start of this season, like because Lucio wasn't part of the meta, but like basically for a control map, he busted out your Lucio, and I think Boink did a really good job of like capitalizing on that position and like really, I guess, like owning that and doing like producing really good results from it. I remember early in the season, I don't know if it was the first time that he got to play or if it was like one of the first couple or something. In one of the Outlaws like behind the scenes things, they were all like saying something like, they don't know Boink yet, but they'll know Boink after this. Like
they were really hyping him up. It was really cute.
Yeah, they always really hype him up or something, and like I think in another one they were watching an old match or something, and somebody was chasing Boink. I don't remember what team it was, but somebody was chasing him, and they're like, "You don't want to chase that, Lucio. You don't want to chase him because he's gonna boop you off."
Because I was going to bring this up. That was when they played Funhouse.
Was it really?
Yeah. So that's because I was going to bring it up. So Funhouse is like a YouTube channel that I love, and they actually did a thing with the Outlaws. And I mean, they're not.
Oh my god! I forgot this.
To be fair, they're not very good players, but they played against them, and Boink would just like fucking terrorize him, and he was like on the wall, and that's what Jake would say. He'd be like, you don't want to mess with that Lucio. Just forget that Lucio. Leave him alone. Because he was just like spawn camping them essentially as Lucio, and he was riding on walls and just like I said, being a terror.
Yeah, I like that they kind of hype him up.
Yeah,
I think that's nice. And I think he's deserving of it.
He does deserve. Boink deserves nice things. Well, the next person, I didn't really have much to say about him, but I assumed you would. And that was Shaz.
I love Shaz.
Well, I know you do.
I think Shaz is underappreciated.
I like Shaz.
I think he's underappreciated.
We'll appreciate him right now.
I'm appreciating him. I appreciate him every day.
Okay.
I think he's nutty. He's so much fun to watch. Like, I don't think he does anything any differently than anybody else, but I just like to watch him because he, I don't know, I don't know. I like him. That's
Yeah,
all.
no, I
I
think
don't have like anything intelligent to say because I
I
don't have any intelligent thoughts ever about anything.
I feel like Shaz and Big Goose, like, together as a duo was like always a big talk. Like, as in, like, they always talked about how they were such a good duo. Because, I mean, they're both, they're both from Finland. I think they had probably been teammates for probably a pretty good while. They have this really good synergy, and it was a thing that people always talked about, like, just how good they are. So, I don't know, I think it's nice, and I like both of them.
Just so you know, if you type Big Goose into Google,
Yeah.
the first result is Big Goose Twitter, but the second one is Big Goose and Shaz. So do with that information what you will.
Alright.
But I also watched Shaz stream a couple of times, and he has like a really, really, really small streaming community because he always streams at like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or like 6 in the morning our time or something.
Yeah.
But like he's so soft spoken and super sweet. Like if you ask him a question, he'll go, "Thanks for asking a question," and then he'll answer it, and then he'll thank you again for asking a question. It's so sweet. It's so nice.
I love that.
I liked to watch him stream because he would sometimes like explain what he was doing. Like if he was like he also played on an one time I watched him play on an alt when he was playing exclusively DPS heroes, and he would explain like, here's why I'm picking this person. Here are the kinds of things that I can do with this hero, and here's what I'm gonna do when we start playing. And then he would do it, and he would like explain it as he went, which was really, really, really interesting for someone who doesn't know anything about anything. Like he wasn't explaining it to like he wasn't doing any talking in like the team chat, but he was just talking to like stream chat. Like, okay, now I'm gonna go around this corner and I'm gonna see if the Zenyatta is there. And if he's there, I'm gonna shoot him. And then he went around the corner and the Zenyatta was there and he shot him. Like, and that was it. But like it was just really interesting to like it was almost like he was just talking out loud to himself, like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. And then he would do the thing. I like Shaz, and I think he's underappreciated. And I am appreciating him on behalf of everyone.
Everyone that's listening better go appreciate Shaz right now.
Also, he was robbed from the All-Stars. I'm just saying that now. He was robbed. He should have been there. But the next person I had was Sleepy.
Yeah, Sleepy.
I like his big towel he brings on stage.
It's for the aesthetic.
Also, he seems like a nice, funny guy.
Sleepy's another one of those that was kind of like not very well known before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he kind of came out of nowhere, but was considered, a good player. He's one of the original Shock players that still gets to play.
Well, good luck to him in the upcoming season.
Thinking about you, Sleepy.
I don't have very much to say about Sleepy, except I think that he's very funny.
Yeah.
Like, he did that tweet when Hammond came out where he's like, I swear to God, if you can place that little hamster bitch outside of his mecha.
I love that tweet.
Imagine trying to hit Baby Diva, but it's a rat. Like,
oh my God. He is really funny.
He's so funny.
He is. I like him. Did you have any more?
Yeah.
I have Toby, but I don't have any information. I just have written he cute down. So, like... you know.
That's it. Who's next?
That's all I had written down.
I'm kidding. That's not it. Because
you love Toby.
I love Toby. Because his name came from Teletubby. Oh. Go watch our episode about names to hear the actual moment where I found out that his name came from Teletubby. Because it brings me so much joy.
It really did bring you a lot of joy.
But also, I did a little bit of looking because I wanted to say something about him other than that his name came from Teletubbies, which is the best thing I've ever read in my whole life.
Sure.
But he was a really strong presence in on, oh my god, I'm gonna butcher the name. The team that Seoul was before they were in.
Kongdu Pen? Is it that one or this?
Yes,
Kongdu Pen?
yes. I don't want to
Just say
mispronounce it.
Kongdu.
Kongdu. Then
Kongdu,
he
yeah.
was a really big presence on that team, like personality wise, which is really interesting.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but just based on when I was gathering clips for later, seems like he was known probably as like a really good Lucio player. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a really good Lucio
Yeah.
player. He also had like a really strong like bond with the team too, because a lot of the stuff I found was like his teammates praising him and being like, Toby is the best, and like that kind of thing, which I think speaks a lot to how he was and how he is as a teammate, which is a really big part of being on an Overwatch team. So I like that and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do too. That's good.
And he has nice glasses.
And he's cute. But I feel like I didn't appreciate him a lot in like when the season was going on. So I'm excited for next season to like actively pay more attention to him.
Yeah, like, hopefully to see him shine a little bit.
Yeah, well, and also I guess like he didn't have a chance to play, Lucio that often either.
I had Kellex.
Yeah, Kellex.
Because I feel obligated to put people from Boston in these episodes because of me being in Boston.
Well,
But also, it was interesting to watch him in the World Cup too.
Yeah.
Because he was playing for Denmark, and Denmark didn't do so hot, really. But
also the only player as well in that one.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting to like. This sounds mean, but like it was interesting to actually pay attention to him.
Damn.
Because I'm an asshole and I don't know how to watch anything in completeness.
Damn.
But I think I don't know. I feel this way about all the support players. I think they're so underappreciated, and like their roles on their teams are so underrepresented. Like, especially in they did that player of the match thing and like that kind of thing. Like, I feel like it was so infrequent that a support player got it unless it was in like a battle support capacity. And I feel like even when I was doing like research for the episode, that it was really hard to find a lot of information about the support players because they're just not. They all seem to kind of be like less like outspoken people. Information about them because they're not spotlighted as much.
Well, I was gonna say what it is if you're the support player, you're kind of used to not getting the praise because you're not the one that's doing like the like.
Your name's not showing up in the kill feed.
You're not the one that's getting all the kills and like doing all that. You're kind of in the you're making sure those people can stay alive so that they can do that. So like you kind of are used to like just being in the background and I guess not getting the praise just because I don't know. I guess like from if you're not very familiar with the game, all you like are paying attention to are the DPS players because like obviously they're the flashy like. They make the big plays and stuff, so like people that help them aren't usually spotlighted too much, which is kind of sad, but
yeah. So I just felt like I don't know. I want to give appreciation to all of them for doing what is inarguably the hardest job on the team. So I wrote down a lot of people that I don't really have things to say about, but I want to acknowledge that they exist and are doing good things.
So, like, we can just, like, run next screen is just going to be, like, a screen of all their names.
Just, like, scroll their names through, like, the Oscars or some shit. Yeah. And then I had Izayaki, who plays for the Valiant, who didn't get to play very much.
Izayaki is fucking insane. I didn't even think about this, but, like, they had the California Cup, and he played in the California Cup, and he was insane. Like, legitimate. Like, he destroyed when he was playing. I forgot about that until you said his name, but
because he's Ana, right? He's an Ana player.
No, he's Zen.
Oh, Zen.
Yeah. The only other one I had was God, I hate his name because I don't know what I'm saying. I think it's Ali Mao. Yeah, Ali Mao. So he played for Team Brazil, and he just recently got picked up by Boston.
By Boston.
So I was always a big fan of Team Brazil just because I feel like, well, one, they had
You feel
Dudu.
like Dudu is handsome?
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
no, but like, um, it's always nice to like hear them talk about being able to play in the World Cup because it's such a big deal for them because like the team that he was on, which was Brazilian Gaming House, something like that. They
Mm-hmm.
basically dominate the contenders, South American contenders, and so like it was such a big deal for them to be able to come over to the United States and play against like higher quality competitors,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like a really big deal for them to be and just because they're so limited with who they can play with and stuff. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's nice that he got picked up by like an Overwatch League team, and I'm excited to see him play. And I thought like he did really well. Like even though overall Brazil like they did fine, they were just up against really hard. Like they were against Canada and USA, so they were up against two of probably the strongest ones. So they had a hard time overall, but they performed well. And I don't know, I'm excited that he got picked up.
Yeah. I remember when we went to that. I went to the event here in Boston. It was like 2 or 3 days after they announced that he picked them up, so like he wasn't here.
Mm-hmm.
But he like put out on his Instagram and tweeted something like, "Sorry, I can't be in Boston with
Aww.
with my new teammates. I'm really excited to like start playing for you. And
Yeah.
glad to see that you guys are helping my teammates or something, my new
Aww.
team or something like that." It was really, really sweet.
I
So I'm
really,
excited to see it too.
yeah, I really hope he gets playtime.
I want to shout out Revenge just because of his
Yeah, I was
name
gonna say
and because he's on the pink team.
you know nothing about him, but I also respect that because all of those things are good.
But I had one more. I would like to give a former support player a shout out, which would be a VAC, because
Uh huh.
when he does, because he's a caster now for contenders.
Yeah.
Um,
Contendies.
he he will often talk about when he talks about support players and support play during contenders games, he brings a really interesting point of view that I feel like we typically don't get to see.
Yeah.
Because I don't think support players get spectated a lot.
No,
Like
they
during
don't.
broadcasts, they just don't as much because that's not necessarily where the action is happening.
So we talked about our favorite support players and stuff like that. So for arcade, just like last week, I found some clips and we're just gonna watch them and kind of share like our thoughts and stuff about them. I would say this week was probably harder just because, kind of like we talked about before, it's not like a lot of times they don't do flashy things. But I think there's still some pretty good clips in here.
Yee.
Yee. So, Philly, you missing the kill feed.
I'm
Juno
noticing
has already killed
something
2
happening.
people. Including Mistakes, who I believe was using a Dragon Blade. And he's not done.
Oops.
He's just,
Oh my god.
got shit
Got
to
enough
do.
to know.
He's like, fuck you, Carpe, for needing healing. I got blood to kill. Yep. So, I mean, I think that pretty well shows you how, insane he can be.
Oh,
See?
he's back.
I put him in,
He's
like,
back.
order. And
Oh, no, Zaya player.
like,
No.
and as you said, like, not often do the, like, support players get the player of the match, but Neptuno did at least once.
Yeah.
He fucking Saya did not have a good day against him.
I'm seeing that. Same with Zebasai. Like, damn.
Yeah. Alright, here we go.
There we go. There's my boy. Got him,
Look at
Crib.
him go.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah, got
Baby
him.
Bay didn't stand a chance.
Bye, baby Bay. Maybe
Just
not.
out for blood.
Maybe not.
Searching out for Baby
Nice.
Bay. So, as you may be noticing in the kill feed,
I was gonna say I'm noticing something happening.
it will
with
there will be a replay. So,
it's unbelievable.
I love fucking Uber. Disgusting.
Disgusting.
So here's the replay of
What is this?
Agapin just was done.
Yeah, he's just checked out. He's like, no, I'm just gonna take this into my own hands. Wow.
Sometimes you gotta just take it in your own hands and do it when.
Sometimes it just be like that.
So.
I know what this is.
Do you know what this is?
I do.
Damn, big goose.
I told you I knew. Got him, Goose.
Good job, Goose. This is nasty.
Jeff loves those environmental kills,
Jeff
and so
does.
do I when it's Big Goose delivering.
Yeah, Big Goose. Big Goose isn't done yet. We might have a little spicy play coming up here for
Yes!
Big Goose as well.
Got him, Goose. Got him.
So,
Bye.
Ulting
Transcending, no less.
That's like.
Got him.
That's gotta feel so bad for that Zin. Like, damn.
I love to see Big Goose thrive.
Yes, Big Goose.
What's happening here?
So here's a Supa play.
Oh, Zupe, who I forgot about.
Get him.
Because I'm terrible. Nice, get him.
Damn. Took them all out. So we got some J-Hong action going on here.
Yes.
So if you heard the
I love you.
The rip tire just went off. And bam.
And it's gone. Bye. Fuck you, Seagull.
Such a good reaction. Because, like, that would have got him in Toby as well if he didn't.
Yeah.
So, it's insane.
But not today.
Yeah. Here he is again. It's very versatile.
J-Hong. Bye.
And if you notice, like, a lot of the other team was here at first, but
And no, they're not.
J-Hong was
because
like,
J-Hong said, you guys should go hang out and spawn for a little while and think about your actions.
like, maybe go away for a little bit.
Wow.
J-Hong insane.
J-Hong insane.
Yeah. I love that man. So, here's this is a little Jonak montage. I couldn't find, like, just a good clip, but I found, like, a montage.
No, not the Outlaws.
Listen, it's a bunch of people.
No, not us.
It's fine.
Not our team. Oh no, Libero, you're in trouble, buddy. Libero, you're in trouble, buddy.
But Jonak already took out Chips, and then he got effect while he was at it, and still going for people. Like, he's just not
Oh
done.
my God.
He's gonna take them all out. Jesus.
Nuts.
Oh, Linkster.
Linkster, no!
Oh my
No!
God.
Jake, no!
It's nutty. And you see, they even
Leave them
nanoed
alone.
him. He took him
No,
out so
Foggy!
fast.
No, Neptuno! Get him, Poco! No!
This is so insane.
No!
It's okay.
Man, he was so nuts.
Oh, here we go.
Yes!
Our favorite support player.
Oh, my angel.
Oh,
yes! There he goes.
And there he beats.
He's not done yet.
Oh, lady.
Get him! Get him, agilities!
Huge.
You're gonna show me again?
Yep, here he
Triple
goes.
boop. I got this, guys.
I got it. Don't worry. So this one's like actually insane that's coming up because
Yeah, this is Dak hitting a sleep dart on an ulting Surefour.
and it was like
Sit down.
and he was nano boosted, so it's
That's a waste of 2 ultimates for
so
the
that's
gladiators.
like a big bummer. They ended up like overall winning the fight, but that was still like insane reaction time.
But
That was
still, that's
also
nuts.
His first time playing Ana, like during the Overwatch. Here we go. See, he's way over here. Like that's such an insane shot, and like you can see, like Surefour is shooting at him also at that point. So
Anyway, get fucked, Surefour.
damn. But yeah, that's insane.
Go back and do it one more time.
Okay, we'll go back. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
nutty.
It's so good. And you can see if you look at Dak's live,
Yeah,
it's going like Surefour is like
he's going. He's hitting him.
He's hitting him real good. So like
He's hitting him good.
it's such a good sleep.
Yeah, that's a really good one. The support players are so rarely highlighted unless they're doing damage.
Yeah, unless they're which is
Because I think, but also I think it's really difficult to highlight those things. I don't know.
Because it's not flashy, so like, in a way, I guess like, I don't know, because it's not flashy. I guess they think people don't care as much, maybe, or it's just hard to like capture, to correctly convey how important what they're doing is, I guess.
Yeah. It's really hard to document like a point where like a decision you made to like heal someone up, like get them up to full health, like set into motion something else. Like I think it's really hard to like put those moments that are so important like into a highlighted space.
Yeah.
Like unless it's like through an ultimate or something, like a like if a Zenyatta ults and his transcendence saves them from a nanoblade. Like that would be like one of the few things that I guess like could get highlighted.
Mm-hmm. I wish I thought of this sooner, but I was just remembering kind of what you're talking about. So we talked about it before, but Hydration played Lucio one time. I remember it looked like he was feeding, quote unquote, because he like jumped in there to like contest and whatever, and then the whole team like jumped on him and killed him. But then, like, if you talk to someone who is a Lucio player, they're like, well, no, what he did was actually smart because he knows that he's faster than all of them, so he can die and then get back to the point, and it's not going to matter. Because, like, what happened was he saved his ult, he got killed, but then so did the enemy team, and then he was able to get back for the next fight and, like, ult and stuff. So it was, like, actually really smart. But if you didn't know... Like, if you didn't know what he was thinking or, like, exactly how to play a support, I guess, you wouldn't realize, like, what he was, the way, like, he went about it, I guess. Something that always stuck out to me that I was told one time, and it was, just, like, a support player talking about different supports and how, he was typically a Lucio player, and so his first thought was, you know, like, he was, you know, going to the people that needed to be helped, you know, and, like, going in the front lines to heal them, I guess, and stuff. Because as Lucio, you're really mobile, so you can do that. And he always said that's why he thought of himself as a bad Mercy player, because he thinks it too much of the other players. But as Mercy, you kind of have to be a little selfish, because you can't, like, you know what I mean? You can't, like, risk those reses and stuff, because once you start, you can't get out and stuff. So you have to think more about self-preservation as Mercy than you do as Lucio. Which I thought was kind of interesting, because if you, like... It was not something I really thought about, but I mean, it is true.
I think that also, like, was what I was talking about at the beginning, where I feel more comfortable with, like, heroes that can either defend themselves or escape really well. Like, with Mercy, I feel so small and, like, so, like, helpless for myself. Like, she has a gun, but I can't aim well enough to actually use it. And that's my own issue. And then, like, if you want to escape, you have to have somebody else there.
Yeah, you have to.
Like, if you fall off the edge, you have to go, come to the edge, come to the edge. And then, like, if they don't make it, you're dead. So, like, but, like, with a hero like Lucio, where you can just, like, bye.
Yeah.
Get a wall right out of this bitch. You know, I'm speeding. I'm speeding out. Like, you can just do that. You can just leave. And then, like, Moira as well, you can just be like, whoop, later. With the support players, you have to find that balance between keeping yourself alive and being there to help your teammates. But also, your teammates should help you.
Well, yeah. But it's also sucks about being support because you are, like, you're target number one. Like, if
they hate you so much.
Yeah, if the enemy team can kill you, that's what they go for. And, like, just because it just hurts your team so bad.
Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to support us,
heyo.
If you want to support us, you can like and subscribe and share this video with your friends if you like. Next week we're going to be talking about tanks, and I'm so excited because those are my people. Support's for Rayla's people, but this is where I'm ready to shine. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about my tank boys.
She's ready for it.
And girl.
And girl, yeah.
Tank boys and girl. Well, tune in next week for the Giguri episode, which is what it's gonna fucking be.
It is.
As always, GG go next.
GG go next.